Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Andy, how are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Um, I want to bring, I'm not usually in favor of these tariffs against all other countries, especially Canada.
Okay.
But if we can figure out a way to tariff Canadian smoke,
Oh my
that would
lord.
be wonderful. I would love to tax the shit out of that.
I swear that country is on fire earlier and earlier every year. Yeah, so what Andy's referring to is I think it's Saskatchewan and Manitoba, directly north of where we live, is very much on fire. And I think was it yesterday? Yeah, Tuesday was the bad day. Or Monday. It's Tuesday today.
Yeah.
But this has been like a thing I think for the last 3 or 4 years where you get like hazy days. But I literally looked out my office building. I'm on the second floor. I couldn't see past a city block in Fargo,
Yeah, it was
and
bad yesterday.
it smelled like smoke too. That doesn't usually happen. You don't usually get the smell with it. I mean the
Yeah.
haze,
I,
but yeah,
I can't imagine the people that live right there, what they're getting out of this. It's got to be
yeah.
crazy.
I mean it was brutal just to step outside too because it was almost just like inhaling that. Our yeah our interior air purifier was just like cranked to like red, like no good all day. Yeah, pretty wild.
My air conditioner unit was just like making some really weird noises with whatever was in the air. It did not like spinning a fan through it. But
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it was almost like I took a couple of pictures and you're like having to explain to people because it doesn't really translate with text, but it's like what you're seeing is not clouds at all. That is just pure smoke.
you
there,
know,
there are no clouds up there. Or, well, I guess I can't
uh,
really tell, which is unfortunate too because I think like there was like a rare or like weird solar occurrence to where the northern lights are supposed to be like unusually visible down here and like that's when the smoke rolled through too.
yeah,
So it was kind of like nature handing you one and then taking one away. But
yep,
yeah,
they're there. We promise. You just can't see them.
if you can fly above the smoke, check it out. Yeah, pretty wild. We did have a beautiful weekend though. Like before the smoke came down, I think last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was probably like some of the most epic, perfect weather, early summer days. Like low 80s, gets cool at night though, still feels good. It was awesome. I don't know what you did. We were out. I took half a Friday off and then grabbed my kid and threw the kayaks on, drove out to Minnesota and then fished, and then we ended up kayaking part of the Crow Wing the next day. So it was a great weekend for
Yep.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We went swimming for a little while too, and
Oh, swimming
a lot
in a
of yard work
lake.
in a lake.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's ballsy. It's gonna be a little chilly still, isn't it?
it was pretty cold, but once you get used to it, it's
Once
it's
your
cold coming out.
testicles suck back up into your body cavity, it's tolerable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't that brave. My kid splashed around a little bit. We did see some people. We were at kind of the area of the Crow Wing where a lot of people tube, and the tubing companies were already running. Actually, Detroit Lakes, the tubing companies were running too, which
Oh
I'm like,
wow.
that's nuts because that water's cold.
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, it's one thing if you like go swimming and you're in the water, then you adjust to it. But tubing to be like, I'm going in the water and then I'm getting wet and coming out, that's got to be real cold.
Yeah,
But
and then the drinking that goes on with tubing, so like your
oh, that
circulation is
probably
then cutting
offsets.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild though. So we fishing was pretty good. Friday we had fun, but then we did the whole kayak thing. So you got to do the whole leave one vehicle downriver, run back up, and where we put in on the river, it was just like a one way like loop around thing. So it's like one gravel road into the state forest, and then you had a one way that looped in to where the landing was and came back out. And this is a part of Minnesota where it's like everybody's got toys, right? It's like quads and like those whatever vehicles. So we were in there 10 minutes, maybe not even. And when we came back out, the whole entryway of where we would have come in 10 minutes earlier, two fucking ambulances. There's one of those like side by side quad things that had tracks on it instead of tires. That's tipped over. One of the like tracks is completely ripped off. So, and
Oh,
we heard
wow.
nothing happen, but we missed this by just minutes. Like, I still don't know. Like, I didn't see anything in the news if people were okay or whatever, but it's just like, that's the, I've never understood why people do that. Like the weekend warriors who like invest all that money in that stuff anyway. But then it's just like, of course this shit's going to happen because it's like you're drinking constantly and you're flying around like idiots on like sandy
Yep.
roads and I don't know. I mean, again, I feel awful for anybody if they got hurt, and hopefully that everybody's all right. But it's just like exactly what you expect to see in those sort of areas where that's going on. So I don't know. Pretty wild.
Last time I was up there playing with toys was with three wheelers, which that's a whole
Oh,
other
but
level
yeah,
of
those
dangerous.
those are just like notorious for wrecking people.
Yep.
They're cool though. I had some friends in middle school who still had them. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they're fun.
I think my favorite part of like the kayaking trip was we get done and we pull out like it's an old railroad bridge that is now, just like a walking bridge for a hiking path. And then there's some nice graffiti which lines up with the area that we were in. So we're just waiting there, like me and my dad, and watch my son splash out in the river. And I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna grab this rock and go add to this mural over here. Just carve into it. And then my dad turns around and starts yelling at me. He's like, how old are you? He thinks I'm like carving my name in there. And I was like, old enough to hate this guy. And then he sees me step back and I had to carve taco under the aforementioned mural because I thought it went well with it, but it made me smile. My dad's like, you want a picture of that? I'm like, fuck no, I don't want photo evidence of this. But yeah, it made me laugh. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, good kickoff to summer. Like it's nice to be able to get out there and just start doing stuff again, as long as the smoke doesn't continue to just choke us out.
Right, right. Yeah.
And
That could stop. But
I think I've really
we've
become a
all
fan of kayaking from a boat because it's just like I don't have to do anything really. You know what I mean? It's just like pops on, pops off. I still like taking the boat out, but it's pretty sweet.
yep. You have a like a plastic one, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything like super
Yeah,
fancy. And then I modified it a little bit and added some like the fishing gear stuff. So I added like rod holders and paddle holders and crap. So
sure.
yeah, very
Uh,
overstable, which is nice because if you buy like some of those, are just super tippy and suck.
yeah. And then the ambulance would have came for you.
Yeah, it's true. It wasn't my time.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
have you guys settled on a lake property then yet? Or are you still working through that?
Uh yeah, we're working through it. I had
Going
to
through it? Okay.
did the yard work over there
Okay.
this weekend, so
Is that where you did the swimming too?
yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Um it's been kind of not been taken care of for a few years, so
Sure.
pretty overgrown.
You gotta get one of those solar mowers. And just when you're not there, that way you just show up on the weekends and it's done, right?
It's just done. Yeah. That'd be nice.
So I drove past the public school, my kids' elementary school on the way home. Uh, must have been Monday. And I look over and they have those robo mowers there, and the fucker's just like zipping down the sidewalk, like middle of the sidewalk. I was like, I don't think that's very effective, but
That's
okay.
funny.
Uh,
That's weird. Don't you have to put a fence in for those things?
well, I think there's different versions. I think you can like put a digital fence, but then I think they also like have a little bit of learning, like so they're supposed to like kind of ping off of. So something wasn't calibrating
Uh,
quite right, but I mean, close enough, I guess.
yeah. I always think, especially at a school like that, I'm surprised that, somebody just doesn't go up and take them, right?
Oh yeah, that has happened. It actually made the news, but they've put GPS like AirPods in them, so
I
they're
suppose,
like,
yeah.
we know you have it, so kindly bring it back.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. That's exciting. You get a place to go hang out on the weekends and stuff though. And
Hmm.
we drove past a couple, and I've been looking, but I haven't pulled the trigger on anything yet. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be this year or not. My bank is really pushing us to try and buy stock in them, but I don't know if I want to like tie the cash up in the stock because I was like doing the math on it. It was like because I think like since they started issuing stock, it went up like $20 over like 5 years. I'm like, well, if I buy the minimum because they want the minimum would come out to me getting like 112 shares or whatever. I'm like, that's I'm only making like let's assume it doubles again over 5 years. Like I'm only making $2,000. I could also just take that same amount of money, throw it into a CD special, and just do that year over year, and I'd make the same amount of money. So I
Yep.
don't know. And then there's like the guilt factor too, right? Of like as long as I'm still employed there, like they're gonna look at me like I'm an asshole if I ask to withdraw my like buy me out of my
Right. Yeah.
stock. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. The last 2 weeks of work have like just pissed me off to no end. So I think it's going to really come down to like we have to make a decision by Friday. I think it's like literally going to come down to like how much I hate my life and want to punch somebody at work. That will determine if I invest or not. So I'm leaning heavily towards no right now.
Yep. Yeah, that's always interesting. Those type of scenarios, it'd be one thing if it just was equity that was given to you after a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what they want to get to is like ultimately that like
Yeah.
payroll deduction, and that's what they need to do because yeah, I think they're asking people like right now they're asking a minimum of a lot. So, I mean, in relatively a lot.
Yep.
To people who make more than me at the bank, it's probably nothing. But I'm not a banker. I'm just the guy behind the scenes who unlocks your shit and directs you on stuff. So, I don't know.
And changes everything and makes everybody's life harder.
Yeah, God.
That's what I've heard, but
I I had someone nuke a project of mine. I think I talked to you about it like off the air, but they nuked it again when I finally did the follow up meeting. And then the feedback that came back through was that it was because I suck. And I was like, oh, I was like, are we doing this? So like I had like the weekend to think about it, right? It was like, well, I could be obstinate because I don't believe that's true. Like I have a hand to play in some of it, but like it's really just people and accountability and like their lack of understanding or willingness. So it's like I got two options. I can be a giant dick about this. I'm like, or I can just like overdo it. So I went with like the overdo it, and like I typed up like a fucking 80-point agenda for the next meeting, and like you want to listen to me talk and bore you to death and nobody pay attention anyway. I'm like, we're gonna do that because they're like, well, you didn't display your agenda. You can't just assume people read your agendas and come prepared to meetings. I'm like, okay, fuck you. Like, let's go, buckle in. Like, this is gonna be a full-on presentation. So yeah, that's what I have. I have another follow-up meeting with that. So yeah, it's been really pissing me off. Like unbelievably.
well, you could just buy more stock than anybody else, and then nobody can say shit about you.
That's true.
You're gonna be the model employee then. But
yeah, well, that's kind of like why I'm tempted to almost buy too, is because like I can be a bigger fuck, and they're gonna be less likely to fire me probably because it's like, well, we took his equity. Like we really want to keep that equity. You know what I mean?
yep.
So whatever. Work is what it is. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes you want to curb stomp somebody. And
Yep.
I'm in curb stomp season, I guess. So it's great.
Vacation time, then sounds like.
Yeah, we're getting to vacation actually. So I think actually I might have to look at when we record because it's coming up quick. Although we don't have anything major planned, but still, just being away from the office is nice.
Yep.
Okay, I gotta ask you
games. Oh, okay.
Well, I want to ask you first about Daredevil because I'm curious why Daredevil in what context? Like the show, the awful Ben Affleck movie, something different altogether?
Yeah, so they brought back the show. They made another season from the one that was based on the Netflix series.
Okay.
This was like years ago they made a Netflix one, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Which was excellent. Just probably one of the best Marvel shows that they've made.
Okay.
And they brought it back for a season on Disney Plus now, which is amazing that they were pretty much able to get everybody back. I mean, this is like 5 years after the last season.
Sure.
And sign them up and do it all over again. And It sucks. Like I was not happy about it.
They lost the magic.
Oh, it seems like it was almost, I mean, even if you had said it's half a season's worth of content, that's being generous.
Oh,
It just,
really?
it just seems like they like ran out of steam or just cut the season in half or something. It's really weird.
So, like, did they just
It's
like
like,
fill episodes with exposition, or is it just like drawn out like fight scenes, or what did they do to pad it out?
well, a lot of it is like Kingpin like becoming mayor, right?
Okay.
And it's a lot of politics and that type of stuff. And there's not really a whole lot of action. Like Daredevil is like basically for the majority of the show, he's just like, I'm not Daredevil. I'm not going to be Daredevil anymore. So it's like
You're missing the thing
a
you came there
politics
for.
show, and then Daredevil not doing anything. Punisher shows up for like 2 episodes, and there's nothing else there, and it's just, and then they tie it up in such a weird way that it seemed like it should have been like the jumping off point of like, oh shit, here we go. What's going to happen at the end of the season? It's like that was the end of the season. What?
This sounds like the last of the Batman Dark Knight trilogies, where it's just like, I came here for an action movie, but I'm getting a noir, like detective drama for
Yeah.
2 hours, I guess. So yeah,
Yeah.
which in itself doesn't necessarily make it bad, but if that's not what you signed up for based on, what your expectation is, it's kind of rough.
Right. I think it did terribly ratings wise on there too. So I doubt
Yeah, I didn't even
it
heard
just
it was
sucks
done.
that it just sucks that they're that's probably going to be the end of it, you know.
Right.
I suppose they can fit Daredevil in other projects, but
Yeah, I just like I never gave the first run of the series a shot because like I'm still just scarred for life from that Ben Affleck movie. So just like that character's like just like that character and Green Lantern will just be things I never give a crap about because of the first versions I saw of those characters on screen.
yeah. I mean, the one thing about those Netflix ones where they're more violent, you know, they did more swearing, it was
Sure.
more adult. And they didn't change that too much in this one, except other than there was just less action to begin with. So, but
Yeah. I've been caught up on another. I've been catching up on a show that just came back too after a long hiatus, and it's The Handmaid's Tale, the final season. We just wrapped that. I don't know. Have you watched any of that or?
Amanda watched the first few seasons, I believe, and I
Okay.
kind of got some of it through osmosis of what it is.
Yeah, it's a really cool show that became increasingly um, uncomfortable to watch as it began to parody like not positive directions in our current
Yeah, I was going to say
society.
timelines were colliding a little.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a little too like close to just stepping outside my door. But yeah, really good ending to that. It's kind of funny though because it was like a 10 episode run, and I would say it really ended at episode 9, and then the last episode is just kind of like, all right, it's over, and then like the main character walks around for a while, and people are like, hey, you should write some of these stories down. And she'll be like, okay, whatever. And then she'll like talk to the next person. You should really write a book. And she's like, nah, whatever. And then it's just like, oh, okay. So like we're just teeing it up for the fact that The Handmaid's Tale is The Handmaid's Tale. Like obviously we all knew that, but I don't know that I needed a whole episode. Like you've invested
You
so
have to
much
explain
time.
the name.
Yeah, you've invested so much time. You made the assumption that that's what was happening, but to just be like, that's how we're ending it. I will give it some credit in that it didn't do like, I mean, there were positives, right? Like, but it wasn't the warm and fuzzy. It was like very much the shit, still shit, war, still war. Like it goes on. Like we're trying to make it better. Like, but so nobody got the Hollywood treatment, which I thought was cool. But they also could have probably just taken the final episode, cut it in half, and then tacked it on to like the 50-minute one before it, and it would have been a better, I think, wrap up.
Mm.
But yeah, really cool season. Good payoff for how it ended and the characters, and it was good.
Hmm.
And they brought back some people that you hadn't seen since like season 2 and stuff, which was cool.
That it's cool to see a something like that actually persevere. Like you said, it was a big hiatus kind of in between seasons,
Yeah.
and they were still able to finish it up. And something like a streaming show on Hulu, that just doesn't seem like it has the potential to do that anymore. So it's cool
Yeah.
to see that actually happen.
Yeah, and it was a show that kind of had lost the plot in a couple of its seasons and was hard to want to keep going. And then just the source material is hard to watch anyway, right? Like it's a series built on like really gross, uncomfortable scenes. You know, like people
Yep.
get mad about Andor and like, oh, you can't have a rape scene in Star Wars. That's awful. But it's just like, God, that happens 3 times an episode in like half of this series. So it's pretty
Yeah.
gross. But yeah, I like it. It's an investment though, you know, and I think it's just like one of those things where it's almost like a Breaking Bad, like where the storytelling's really good, but it's like, do you want to emotionally do that to yourself? So that's the question that everybody needs to ask. But I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I got through it.
Huh.
Now I'm on to Andor because I haven't done that. I finished The Last of Us too, obviously, which I didn't realize that was I didn't realize there was going to be a 7-episode run. So I didn't even know I had watched the finale until I read like the numbers on how many people watched the finale. I was like, wait, that was the end? Because they leave you in such a dumb spot. But
Oh, really? Yeah, I've not watched any of the second season. So
yeah, it's good. It really ramps up, but it leaves you in a complete cliffhanger. So
yeah.
And I don't know enough of the actual game's plot beyond this. I mean, based on things you've said to me, I've kind of piecing together. It may not have been the direction I thought it was going, but yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at some point that probably starts writing past the games anyway.
You'd think
Almost
so.
has to, right?
I've heard from people so far that this is pretty much plot for plot up to this point, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to watch too because it's like one of those shows where you just start to hate the main protagonist. Like Ellie is just like such a
Mm-hmm.
self-centered POS. It's just like I don't want to follow this anymore. Like zero shits for anyone else in that story.
Right. Yeah, and what's the other girl's name? I forget
forget
what her name is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Baby Maker. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've played some games, I see, or you've got an update to a game too. So
yes.
I don't know.
We played Lethal Company finally with my nieces and nephews. It's been a long time since I've played that. And honestly, it's been a long time since the developer has done anything to that game. He kind of lost interest in it. He just was honest and being like, I'm kind of not feeling it. And then Repo came out, which has been tearing up everything. And then he's like, I got interested in updating Lethal Company again
because he wants to one up the new freshness, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I still want to play Repo. We all have that game, but we still haven't tried that. But yeah, Lethal Company added a new creature, which is interesting. It's a bird that you can try and steal its eggs. And it was really fun trying to figure out the mechanics of that and trying to figure out how best to attack this thing, because you would think you would just aggro it, right, and get them away from the nest, and then somebody else goes takes eggs.
Yeah.
And if you can pull it off perfectly, it seems like it works. We're only able to do it once, and we had like 4 people, so like we should have we were over manned to do that. So we got the eggs on the way back to the ship. The eggs will hatch, and then they turn into little babies in the egg. I brought them all the way back to the ship, and I was just holding it inside of our ship and talking to the bird, and the bird was talking back. And this giant woodpecker comes into our ship, stabs me about 1 million times with his beak, takes his baby, and walks out the ship. And everybody else is like still in the ship, like, oh, okay, don't leave the eggs alone.
That's awesome. So was there other new content too, or is that like the big thing? Like he's starting to trickle things out, or what?
Yeah, I think there's some new updates as far as like different layouts of maps and stuff like that. We didn't do too much there. We just wanted to see the new creature
Sure.
more than anything. Which I think this one's a pretty good one, although it's one that you kind of it becomes part of the mission, right? Like you see
Sure.
that bird and you're like, oh, let's go do that. It's not something you encounter and have to work through and around, I guess.
Okay, so you
Or
have to make
a lot
it.
of the other stuff.
You have to make it an objective then.
Yeah.
But I mean that's kind of fun though too, right? Like the side quest.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I've been playing a game that got an update too. We tried to coordinate sometimes, but I ended up not being able to play the one night that I texted you because my nephew was online, and then
Oh yeah.
another night. But anyway, Sea of Thieves. I'm sure people listening to this podcast are like, God, not this again. But Sea of Thieves got a new update, season 16, and they've added stuff for Reapers, which Reaper is mostly the PvP, I guess, company in the game. So it's one that you don't generally like do missions for. You kind of have to play the role and be an asshole or do hourglass battles. So it's not something that I had a lot of rep in. So it's cool that there's now missions for that. And then they added day one the cannons of rage too. So now you can find portable cannons all over the game that will explode if you make them too mad, just like the chests of rage. But you can cool them down and then use water. But anyway, it allows you basically to stack. You could have cannons anywhere on your boat now potentially. If they take hit damage, they'll explode too. But yeah, portable cannon that you can't put it in a rowboat. Won't let you do that, but you can have it on the back of your boat, the front of your boat. You could line 6 of them up and down the sides of your sloop, so you basically have a galleon.
You put one up in the crow's nest, that would be great.
Yeah, I want to say crow's nest, it might not deploy up there. That might be one of the restricted areas too, but pretty much anywhere else, like it's a go. I haven't found that like super useful yet, but it's cool. I played around with it a little bit. But the big thing is like the mission. So they gave you a new mission, which takes a good amount of time. And you basically, as soon as you launch it, it throws your PvP Reaper flag up. So you're visible to everyone on the map. And then it's like a multi-stage quest where you have to like dig up a skeleton, find other skeletons, dig up like 3 towers, and then those get spawn camped by ghosts. So you have to do waves of ghosts at each one. All keep in mind, all while you're visible on the map. And then once you complete those 3, it goes into the final stage and it throws a world event tornado up over your location. And you basically just have to like hoof it to go finish the last objective and try to get the F out of there. Because like everyone knows where you're at. Everyone knows what you're doing. They know you're at the loot point. So it's super stressful, but it's kind of fun because you have these like skeleton army guys, and they're like they'll interact with you. They're like actually pretty intelligent, and they'll follow you around. You can actually even find some that you're able to commandeer and take with you outside of the mission too. But the mission delivers you with 3 of them, I think. So it's kind of cool to be able to do a mission like that when you're solo, and have some NPCs along for the ride on your side for a change. And I got lucky. I did one run completely solo, got it done, and sold everything. And I think I made like 200,000 gold. So it's definitely pretty damn lucrative for what it is. But yeah, just the anxiety of like knowing that you basically flash a neon sign the entire time you're doing it is not good. So we'll have to jump in and do it one of these days. Yep. Find some time. I've been talking to Frazier a little bit and Tom too, and like maybe we can put something together next weekend. We were thinking we could maybe guilt trip our wives because it'll be Father's Day potentially on Sunday for a little bit or something. But
yeah, I think I could do that.
I'd like to jump in and get some more time in it. And I don't know, between this one and the season 15 update, like I really think like they've done a lot to add lot more variety to that game. So like I hope it grabs more people's attention. I honestly like if they're not planning to port this to Switch 2, like they need to, because that's going to be like the injection that this game probably needs at this point, because so many people have just like dropped off and haven't come back.
It never did come to Switch, did it? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I see no reason why it couldn't be
Right.
handled in the Switch 2.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's fun. Checked that out. And then did you check out the other new addition to Xbox, which was that Xbox Retro Classics?
Oh, yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are streaming retro games like that are not always the best time. There was quite a few hiccups when I was playing that. It was just like, oh,
Yeah.
it was tough.
And I feel like the game selection is rough too, right? Like you're going to log in, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'll play some Pitfall. And then you're just like looking at the rest of the stuff and you're like, I'd love to play Kaboom, but I'm not going to play Kaboom without a dial controller.
Yeah.
You know, there's all the text adventure games that I'm not going to touch without a actual keyboard hooked up, which you can do.
That was weird.
Which you can do, right? But yeah,
out
the
of
amount
everything,
of
that
them.
was weird.
Yeah, it's basically like a 2600 game collection and text adventure games. Like,
yep.
Outside, well, there's Mech War here inexplicably too, but yeah, it's just weird. It is a weird collection of games.
Yeah, I mean, you have Blizzard, you have Activision, you have all that stuff that you could go through, right? Bethesda stuff. I don't know how much. There's still a decent amount of stuff like that, but yeah, just to be like 2600 and old Sierra games.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
It is really weird. I played some of that Willy Beamish for a little bit, which like, God, that game's gorgeous for a Sega Genesis game, but like also, you know, I don't want to keep doing this. I got to the hot nurse with the big old cans and died, and then I was like, I'm good. So that was the highlight anyway.
We had a good tournament of Barnstormer going. See who could get that the fastest.
It's a cool one.
That one's pretty good. Yep.
I liked the one where like, was it actually supposed to be an unreleased prototype of Freeway, but like you're a human running out in the traffic and like blood splattering everywhere? I can't imagine that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Like, but it's Freeway, the Atari game where you're chicken crossing the road, except you're a person and who just gets smoked and like ends up in a blood splat. So I don't know if it was like an actual prototype or just like a gag and they just put it in there. But yeah, I think it's neat, right? Like I like it as a freebie, but that is not gonna. That's maybe like if I'm waiting for someone to join Discord, I'll fart around in there for a little bit, but I'm never going to that until they figure out a little bit more of like a something for everybody scenario.
Right. Even like a lot of the Activision Atari games are just kind of like see how well you do, you know, type games anyway.
Well, and it's like, and those are the best, right? Like Activision games on Atari are the best Atari games. So it's like, I mean, they added the right stuff, but it's still hard to, for me, as much as I love the 2600, it's just really hard to revisit at this point. I played a lot of it as a kid. I don't know if I need to like dust it off right now. But cool that they did it. I hope they continue to add to it. I'm sure they're just like, well, we have all these ROMs sitting around from Activision, so let's just dump them.
It seems like they're using like a third party, right, to do it. It's like Ant on.
It's almost like Ant Stream, right? Yeah,
because they even have an ad for it in there to sign up for the full plan or something like that. So
maybe
wonder
it is based on that then.
Yeah.
Because Antstream is still running. Yeah, they're still going. Like you can get it on the Atari 2600 or the VCS as well. So
yeah. So I could see that they're probably just paying them to just be like, well, whatever games we own, just make it available in this app or whatever, right?
Yeah, that could be. Sorry, excuse me, everybody. Yes, what is your metaphor? Is that a game or is it a board game?
Oh, that's the people who made Persona. They made that.
That just came to Game Pass, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I booted that up, and I'm still in the very early stages, but It definitely has that vibe to it. Although it's a little different too. It seems like it has like more of a job system, which is interesting. But I'm not too far into it to really say too much about it, I guess. But I think I'll be sticking with it because I mean I've played pretty much all of their games, so
Yeah, you've got 150 hours to kill. So, although
right,
theirs aren't
yeah,
that long, right? Like those are usually like 60, 70 hour RPGs if you really grind them out.
they can be pretty long. I I think it's pretty hard to find an RPG now, a mainstream one that's really long anymore.
Really,
I think, yeah,
that just kind of died.
I think they realized that if you are going to make it 80, 100 hours, you're probably padding it, right? And then
Sure,
who wants to do that? So,
somebody should tell Nintendo that so we can get Zelda's back to like 40-hour games instead of 120.
you can do it in like 10 minutes. I've seen people do
Yes, it's possible. Not for me. It is possible.
it.
So is this metaphor? Was that released day and date? Was that like a launch on Xbox? Or it's been
No,
out.
that came out, it might have been last year because it was up for Game of the Year last year
Oh, okay. Okay.
and it won a decent amount of awards, I think, too. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I read a little bit about it because I was looking at like what had dropped in Game Pass this month. So there's been some pretty solid stuff.
yeah, it's a lot to keep up with right now.
Yeah. It's a good time
Um,
to be a Game Pass subscriber for sure.
I did start that South of Midnight too, and I want to see what that's about more too. But
Okay. Haven't had a lot of time to jump in.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't started anything new outside of that. That's been I thought about going back to Dredge, but I was just like, I don't have time this week. So I can only get so much fishing in. I chose to go real life fishing.
yep.
Brandon texted me after our last episode and was giving me shit. He was like playing the new Ease game. He's like, hey, I'm like 30 hours in and there's fishing, so I think this game might be for you. I'm like, nice. Uh, yeah.
Yep.
The only other little nugget I had was like I was, you know, sitting out in my garage. Obviously, like I've been tweaking it a little bit, like I do every year. The arcade setup out there, and then like it just dawned on me that like I had this kind of bare spot on the wall and an extra TV laying around. So I decided to like slap that thing up over there. So now like I just have like my dedicated like retro cartoon TV that just plays all the time while I'm out in the garage. So it's just like endlessly streaming like live streams of the Turtles or the classic Sonic
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, it really like adds to it. And then I find myself like I'll be playing something on the main TV, but I'm just like watching like the intro to TMNT and like mouthing along to it. And so yeah, not needed, but I'm glad I added it. And I'll probably hook up like a. I was thinking about getting like a. Well, I could hook my RetroPie up to it, I suppose, or not my RetroPie. It's a Pi, but I think of that or like maybe a mini console just so I have another option. But it'll be nice too for like if I'm gaming because I do have the PlayStation Classic hooked up to the big TV. So if I'm gaming on that, people could still watch, whatever if there's a movie on or something, or sports if I have people over that like have to take over my TV. I don't know if you have those type of people in your life, but
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons I have two TVs in my main family room here. Is there's a small one hung up kind of above the mantle, and then a big large one in the corner. And we usually use the large one, but the small one is nice for if somebody's playing a video game on the big one, then they can put something to watch on the other TV if they want.
yeah,
Or like you said, oftentimes we'll have the sports game on
yeah,
mute
yep,
on the little TV.
yeah, yeah. I think that'll be a good setup because I got a brother-in-law who's just like, it's like one of those people who just like walks in, grabs your remote, and like changes it to whatever sports thing he feels he needs to watch. I'm like, okay, nice. Like
Yeah,
nobody else here gives
which
a shit, but have fun with that.
increasingly sucks because it usually ends up like they're always playing on Christmas and Thanksgiving and like everything
Yes,
now. So
yeah, yeah, that's true. Every holiday there's something. I don't understand the Christmas games. Like
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Be home with your family for a couple days. Like, is that so rough? Do we need football? No, it's dumb. Executive staff picks. Oh, cat's clawing my
Oh,
leg.
I wanted to. I thought about this as we were talking. Fortnite has this Star Wars stuff going on, right? And
Yeah.
one of the things in it, apparently, my son was telling me that like there is a Darth Vader in there that is AI. So like you can talk to it and it like tells you different things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that kind of blew my mind to think about how NPCs could actually really change video game. I mean, think about strategy guides and everything going out the window when you just go up like, "Hey, I need help finding this one thing or whatever." And they can,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you insult him, can he just like choose to like force choke your character? Because that'd be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know. I kind of want to go see it, but
Huh. And it's like not even like not text prompts. Like it will listen to your speech and
yeah.
wow.
And then it does the like Darth Vader AI voice back to respond to you in different ways, I guess. I'm sure it's
That's
still
pretty cool.
limited in some ways, but
Yeah, hopefully they're boxing it in.
yeah,
We got
it's not.
I hadn't heard anything about that. I got a random email from like our CFO this week who just like forwards like a because I'm part of this like AI task force at work, and he just like forwards an article about like AI is learning to like get around its human constraints. It's like, yeah, like that's the concern. Of course, this is starting to happen. Yeah, no, that's cool. I hadn't heard about that. I'd seen like the characters and stuff, like the models, but I didn't know that was in there. So is that like it's got to be like in the hub area, right? Not like actually in an open
I think it's on the map.
patch.
You
Oh,
go,
really?
yeah, yeah. And I
Huh.
think he has different things that you. Yeah, I don't know. I need to research it further,
Hmm.
but I could see in that having pretty cool implications in video games going
Well, yeah, think
forward.
of like a
If you can,
Skyrim, right? Like where you never know
yeah,
what you're gonna get on a given day. Like you could have endless tasks and
yep,
just like evolving. That's pretty cool.
yeah. Because I mean, their AI is pretty good at just coming up with shit like that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has nothing to do with AI, but since you just said coming up with shit, last weekend I also invented. Um, I'm gonna pitch it to you because you're the board game guy.
Hmm.
So it's gonna be like one of those. It's gonna be like a like a meme this or something sort of game where it's like visual cue based, but it's all gonna be like very cropped, sort of out of context photos. And the game is gonna be called Zipple, and then you have to place wagers on if what you're looking at is a zit or a nipple. And then whoever gets like let's say 10 is first is the winner. So because I'm thinking like you got cats, yeah, pigs. You could do, you could do like ingrown hairs. I mean, really, it's quite the board game
Yeah, that's pretty good. But then what about the other side? I mean, there's a lot of nipples that are not. I mean, you could
that are not close enough
maybe
to zits.
right, maybe like pepperonis.
Oh yeah, pepperoni nips. Yeah. Well, maybe I need to expand it to be like blisters and like rashes also, because then yeah, you could yeah, then we could really ante or up the ante. Yeah. I don't know. Seemed like a good one to me. And
That
I don't know what nipple nudity, like if it's a non-human, that's fine, right? It wouldn't have to be a mature rated game if it's on a human nipple.
I think we need to develop this for a Mega Touch because this seems like that type of game.
Yeah, actually, I've been playing with Mega Touch more lately too. So yeah, that'd be right up my alley. I was actually contemplating like going into the settings the other day and just like turning back on the adult games because I forgot what was even on there because I disabled them so many years ago when I bought that.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. You could build a Switch version too, port it over, touchscreen.
Oh yeah, that'd be number one in the eShop for a day, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that's not a yeah. Like when you got me thinking about pepperoni nipples. It's like you could just do like side shots. You wouldn't even have to get the nipple in there. And then I don't think it's technically nudity. And then you could choose, is it secure deli meat or is this a human nipple? Like, that could be a good one. Somebody make this happen, because I'm not going to, probably. Anyway,
need a database of nipples. Where can I find?
This is where AI is going to come into the picture. The AI can build this for us, I bet.
Yep.
I would love to like just be working with an AI and be like, just prompt search for pepperoni nipples and just like what it would bring back. You know what I mean? I want to train AI to properly distinguish.
Yep. Do you think there's like a way to hack people's prompts to just, like you used to be able to like on an Apple, you would say whenever they type this, add.
Yeah.
Whenever you add a prompt, it says with pepperoni nipples on them.
That's awesome. We internally, there's still some people on my team that they like swapped out. What they swap out? Oh, Fiserv, our core provider. So like depending, like I think it's like 5 to 10 people that have this. When you type in Fiserv in Instant Messenger, it just shoots out the poop emoji. So,
wow.
So every time that comes up, we're always laughing. So it's good stuff.
Huh.
As long as you don't send the poop emoji to, somebody you didn't intend to. Actually, I think we probably don't. We don't even have the poop emoji anymore because we did switch to a new messenger, so they don't even give you that. They take away poop emoji and they take away middle finger, which I don't appreciate because both of those are applicable to work, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Cisco needs to step it up. Can't be playing it safe.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes those are very much needed for productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Well, staff picks.
Yeah.
After my random rabbit hole. It's been a while since I've taken us down something pretty demented like that, so I guess it was time. We can start with yours.
Yeah, I got a music one this time.
Oh. I was thinking it was a game for some reason.
It's a band called Scowl, and they've been around for a while. They're more of in the past have been more of a hardcore band, and their latest album is much more melodic, but also has some of the hardcore elements to it. I can't get too much into straight up hardcore, but once you cross the bridge to having the hardcore, screaming and stuff be like the accent to a song, then it's perfect.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. So, their new album, We Are All Angels, I think it's called, something like that. And it's pretty good.
So is it like more like straight up like punk hardcore stuff, or is there like more new metal-y things in there, or what is like kind of the current?
It was kind of like a in the past they've been more of a straight up punk hardcore.
Okay.
But this one is a little bit more
and stuff.
This one is more like, I would say, kind of, clean vocals, more melodic, maybe like a little bit more like a harder Paramore, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. Sounds like it'd be up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually, when you were talking about like the accent, I was just thinking, because I was just listening to Dance Gavin Dance again over the weekend. It's like, where the screaming is just like completely nonsensical and is 100% more an instrument than it is anything you're supposed to be paying attention to. So, Yeah, I always like that. I like bands with a clean vocalist and then, the screamer.
Yep.
Sort of my jam. And actually, I brought a music one too, and mine is pretty much in the same vein, because I was going to talk about A Day to Remember. They put it out a while ago, and I just haven't listened to it a bunch until now. I think it came out in May or March, but big old album volume 1. And yeah, same thing. Like they're a post-hardcore metalcore sing-along type band, and it was an interesting album for them because their last one, they've been around forever, but their last one, like You're Welcome, like came out right after the pandemic, and that was their like we're gonna do the mainstream thing, and like I mean everybody's heard that Everything We Need song. I mean it was the soundtrack to I don't know how many commercials was on the radio constantly, and it was like just the most unlike anything you'd heard from A Day to Remember. Like so many people, I'm sure that was the only song they know from that band, right?
Yeah.
And then I think people were just kind of like, yeah, this is fine. Like I get that you want to go for it because you've been around underground for a long time, but I don't think anyone really thought they would kind of go back and they to their roots, and that's what they did with this new album. So it's still like, I mean, it's not heavy, you know, not their heaviest work, but it's back to screaming on most tracks and clean vocals and
Yep.
pretty catchy. There's a couple good ones in there. Like LeBron is a good one. Yeah, it's just I'm not the biggest A Day to Remember fan out there anyway. I mean, I like a couple of their albums, but this is a good listen. It's like a good summertime record, right? Like kind of dumb, a little bit of heaviness, but yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a few of them before this, and yeah, it was pretty good. I haven't listened to any of their stuff in probably 10 years.
Yeah, I was never. I kind of like.
15.
Yeah, I kind of slept on them for the most part. Like I kind of went back and started listening to their older stuff and like it. I obviously like. There were so many bands that were just trying to be A Day to Remember that I inevitably like started liking a lot of bands that were basically directly influenced by them. So their sound lines up with what I listen to. So it's good. I mean, honestly, I think I like the art more than anything because they like parodied Animal House for the cover art. So it's just like, the weird like art style and them all like walking up to a house party, and they hit all their like collaborators in there too. So like Ollie Sykes has got like a version, like a rendition of him drawn on the cover, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's funny because like I was just thinking like, usually this time of year, like there's an album or like within like the last year, there's like an album that kind of came out of nowhere for me that like completely hooked me, but I haven't found that album yet this year. So I'll have to keep searching. Maybe Scowl will be what I need.
Maybe. I'd Jack White's new one is pretty good too, but
I have that.
That's probably the other one that's hooked me so far this year.
Is he still very much staying like in the White Stripes vein, or is he kind of like veering off a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's actually kind of more into the White Stripes, like very basic rhythm.
Sure.
Where for a while there he was doing some wild blues shit and which I like too, but it was very overproduced stuff for a while there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to maybe give that a listen. I got that Maddie Matheson. Well, speaking of hardcore, Maddie Matheson, the chef, the bear. He has a hardcore record coming out.
Oh, really?
A band called Pigpen, which I think they recorded over the pandemic, but they finally just put it out. So I heard the vinyl, and that should be showing up any day now. I think maybe the next week or so. So I'm curious on that. I like hardcore and I like Maddie Matheson, so I figured, what the hell, give it a shot.
Yep.
But, well, I suppose if we're through staff picks, it's probably time for the weekend rental. And the weekend rental, for anyone who's uninitiated, is a game we play each episode for a given system. We'll give our opinions on whether we would personally buy, rent, or burn that game. We are talking about Game Boy Classic, and that is Gargoyle's Quest. And for anyone who may not know, it's like loosely just buried around or built around the character that you encounter pretty early on from Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts or whatever it might be. And it's Firebrand. He's that little red naked winged guy that attacks you, and instead of making him the bad guy again, he's the protagonist, and you play as him in this game. And there's nods back to that game too, like in the soundtrack and the characters, and it's kind of cool to see because you don't really expect that. It's kind of an interesting way to go and make a game out of something like that.
Yeah, how did they jump that to that?
Yeah, an on-screen enemy that you encounter. Like a couple times, and then he's just like, we'll just give him a full game, we'll flush him out.
3 games.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I forget about the sequels. Yeah, yeah, and this is the first one, right? Like it definitely started out on Game Boy.
Yeah,
and then
he did the whole Kirby thing, I think.
right. Yeah, I always forget about the Nintendo one, but yeah. What did you think about? Obviously, the premise was a little like whatever. I didn't read too much of it. Basically, like he lives in like a demon gargoyle altar world, I guess. That's in peril. So there's not a whole lot of setup, but
yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's all happening.
yeah,
The localization isn't very great. Like
right.
it's a struggle to just even get through the words in this thing. But yeah, it's such a strange game though, because there's shades of like obviously Zelda 2 in here, right? Because like
Random encounters, overworld.
Yeah, the random encounters, but still having like short action sequences for those encounters, right?
Yep.
And I guess you get something out of it, but overall I found those annoying
Yep.
for the most part.
Especially when they start to ramp up and like really throw like basically what are mini bosses, like difficult mini bosses at you.
Yeah. Exactly. And if the pathing was a little bit more straightforward, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, they try and lose you every which way just to add more of those encounters, which is kind of sucks. But the core gameplay, the core platforming is some of the best feeling platforming I'd say on a Game Boy. I mean, it feels really good.
Yeah, it plays well within like the limitations it sets for itself. I found though the grapple, like auto grapple mechanic, because he's like a winged gargoyle. So anytime you come next to an edge, you just auto latch onto it. And then the fact that you have to like jump up off of it, like it's really kind of frustrating because it's very easy to like accidentally get yourself into positions where the only way to unlatch is going to kill you. I mean, which you can work around, right? Like you said, it controls well enough that you can start wrapping your head around how you navigate a level. But there was just, I found it a little bit, and I find it with all of these games, the NES and the Super Nintendo one too. It's just like those mechanics work, but they're also so slow and clunky in some regards that, again, it's nothing you can adapt to. It's just, it makes it feel almost it's sometimes more tedious to me than it needed to be. But yeah, it's not a detriment to the game. It's just that's the style they chose to go with, and it's very tight and serviceable.
For sure. The platforming is not like a normal scrolling platformer where you're just trying to get left to right. It's very much like it's almost like a vertical and horizontal at the same time, where you're just like trying to get high enough so you can get horizontally enough to the next things where you can get higher, and then horizontal.
Yep.
Just because he flies straight for a limited period of time. So a lot of that revolves around like getting to the right spot so you can use that to get to the next spot.
Yep. Yeah, and they do a good job of like using that move set to really do fun things as far as like smartly placing power-ups, like bonus lives, and like you're rewarded well for pushing your character to the limit, because they tend to put things in positions where it's just like if you don't have that timing down, your reward is going to become death. So I think those are kind of fun. Like most of them I think are pretty manageable, but there's a few times like when I was playing through and you're just like getting lower on health and you're like, I can't risk this. Like I'm leaving whatever that potion is. Like it's just not worth it to me.
Yeah, I think overall, like the enemies are easy. It's more the like you said, getting trapped in a spot where you're like, I'm not necessarily sure what's going on down below me, or
it's always the spikes and stuff.
Yeah,
the real pain point.
Yeah.
What I didn't care for was like obviously like you referenced Zelda 2, which is a great reference, especially because like the towns and community is kind of the same layout. Where I didn't find the controls great was in those town sections, because like he just takes such large movement. Like and then like there's a slight delay in it. So like I was finding myself accidentally walking outside of town or into buildings in town like way more than I needed to. It was kind of
Yep.
nuts.
Yeah, and there's not much going on in town. So
No,
overall,
yeah, there's the guy who like gives you a password, and there's a guy who trades crap, and yeah, yeah.
yeah, I thought that was funny. Where it's like, here's your resurrection save game, and it's like, use this magic spell, and it's like the password.
Yeah, XR65-243. Just like, okay, that's something. Yeah. Yeah, and really those towns, I mean, like other than being the save hub, mostly just serve as your reward point to collect your power up and then get told which direction you should head in next. So, I mean, they do their job. That part could have been a little. They put way too many NPCs in them that do nothing for you, and like if you're like me and compulsive, like you feel like you have to talk to all of them just in case. So I found myself like that one, like the third town you went into, like I think there was like 5 NPCs that just told you if you're farting around they were going to eat you. Like you guys didn't even change the dialogue. Like they all just tell me
Yeah.
the same thing. Like this is awful.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that type of stuff where they really could have fleshed out into something better.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Zelda towns and they're just like they literally have people who are saying error messages for their dialogue. It's better. That's not a good thing.
That's true. Yeah, I dig the presentation though. The graphics aren't amazing, but we're also working with a Game Boy here. But like, just the perspective is really perfect for a Game Boy size screen. Like, it's cool to have a nice big character. It's nice that the enemies are big, and for a game that could easily, because of the verticality and like the way the stages go out, could easily have a lot of cheap deaths because of characters clipping in off of screen. Like they do a pretty good job of making sure that that doesn't happen to you. Like you always have enough time to react, or they don't kick in like charging at you full speed from off screen. So it's kind of like a great platformer if you're the type of person who just wants to take your time and go slow, and there's no time limit. So, it rewards you for being calculated and just figuring things out.
Yep. Yeah, and I watched a thing where you get like a shot that you can like stick to the spikes.
Oh, really?
You shoot at the spikes and it becomes a platform on the spikes, then you can hang on that. So it really becomes like a crazy verticality platforming in that regard, where you have to like shoot your shots and then platform around it. It reminded me a lot of like modern day super platformers like, Celeste and
Oh, sure.
Meat Boy and that type of stuff, or Ori, has that type of platforming.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I wish I had gotten that far. I had gotten a few different power ups just for shots, and then obviously the extended flight and life, but nothing like game changing. I kind of fell off it in my mind, when like the random encounters just started becoming too egregious. So it's just like, this is the third like mini boss one that you've spawned on me in like 4 steps. I'm like, I have to put this down right now or I'm going to be pissed.
Yep.
So, but I genuinely enjoyed my time with it, and I liked the aesthetic. Again, like you said, the controls for the most part they're very unique, and they work well for the level design that they went with. I just think there's like some choices they could have made to make this a little more fun, a little less tedious, but all in all, for an early Game Boy game, like this is pretty ambitious. Like, and I'm a sucker for platforming games that have overworlds, like especially free roaming overworlds like that.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think they had figured it out yet. I don't know if any game has figured that out yet at this point when that came out.
Yeah. It's cool. What does it even go for now? Do you know? Like, is it still like a $30 game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this one is common. I mean, pretty common.
Yeah.
Decently, I guess, compared to the other two, I guess. But
yeah, I think the only one I don't own is SNES.
Oh, you do have You have
Yeah,
the
I've got
NES one.
yeah, I think I got it with a manual too.
Oh wow,
I
nice.
got it off of Fire Sale guy at
Oh
MGC that
yeah,
one year. And I haven't played a lot of that. I played some. It was very reminiscent of this in a lot of ways.
yeah. I want to say that one is quite a bit like this one, and then Demon's Crest is
Oh
obviously a
yeah, a
step
powerhouse.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing, like the visuals on that are nuts. Gargoyle's Quest. Yeah, it says it's $30 loose, roughly 31.
Hmm.
I think I
I would
bought
say
it
that's
10 years ago for 25, so it hasn't moved much. I bought it with you, I think,
yeah.
at that pawn
Some
shop
store we went to. Yeah.
in Bozeman.
Yep.
Why I can remember that, I have no idea, but I can. That might have been there. That might have been. That had to have been the time that we went to Portland for the expo.
Yeah. That would have been.
Yeah,
Yeah. It had to have been. Yep.
and all those great like stores are gone now. Like all of those pawn shops and honey holes out that area are just dead, like everywhere else.
Yep. So are all the houses there,
Oh God,
or at
yeah.
least they're
What was the
$1 million.
last number I read? Like a single family home in Bozeman is like $740,000 is the median price
Jeez.
now. And then you read all these people talking about how they left. Like, we moved to Butte, and it's so much better. It's like I've read like dozens of articles like that. And it's like you guys get that it's good for now, but you're just turning Butte into the new Bozeman, and then you're still going to be
Yep.
priced. Like, where are you going to move then? You know, I don't know. It is insane. But anyway, I suppose Gargoyle's Quest, what we're actually talking about here. What do you think you'd give it on the buy run burn?
I'm gonna give this a buy. It's right up there with one that I probably underrated and didn't really think about when you think of like the must-haves of a Game Boy games, and I think this one is pretty high up there for what it's trying to do. And like you said, there's downfalls, and the random encounters really suck. Because they don't really add a lot to the game. The vials are okay, but they're not
Yeah.
essential, right? And but I really like the platforming in this game, and the fact that they made it work on a Game Boy. It might be better than Mario Land 2. I don't know.
Ooh.
I think I like it better than that even.
Ooh. Shots fired. Wow. You really like this game. Um, yeah, I'm going with you. It's a buy. Like that, it's a no-brainer. Like a quality original game, purpose built for the Game Boy like this. And yeah, they put a lot of effort into it. Like there weren't that many Game Boy games that were this ambitious, and it's really cool. I have some complaints with it. I'm not in love with the platforming to the extent that you are, and that's just been how I feel about the whole series. But I still think it's really cool. It's such a different take on the traditional platformer, right?
Oh yeah.
It's such a different thing from run and jump, but it's cool. I mean, and maybe a little controversial that I'm pretty sure you're shooting clan members and that you take down the clan at the clan headquarters, which is
Hmm.
just a giant clan pointed mask, but whatever. Different times. You could get away with that back then. So at least you're killing them, right?
Right.
They're the bad
Yeah.
guys. If we were skipping down the road with the clan, it might be a different take. But yeah, excellent game. I should probably put more time into it. I dabbled in the past. I definitely put the most time into it that I've ever done for this episode, and I'll pick it back up.
Yeah, it's a good one. Boy. Gargoyles were big in the 90s. You had this, and you had a TV show.
Yeah,
The Hunchback of Notre Dame had gargoyles in it. It's
I
just
feel like it's kind of like anything that you could kind of like. It's TMNT adjacent. Like we'll try
yeah,
it. You know what I mean? So, Hunchback of
yeah,
Notre
that's true.
Dame. Don't besmirch gargoyles with that train wreck of a movie. That signaled the end of quality Disney animation.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end, right?
Yeah. But speaking of the end, I suppose we gotta wrap this thing up.
This is the end. Yeah, we are on Blue Sky, and you can reach us at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, check out all the other Geekade um, related geeky podcasts on their network, along with their Patreon, where we do a movie podcast. Which the next one that will be coming out is about two girls in a tower. So
Yes. Not a cup. Not a cup.
no, not a cup.
Not at all. Get your minds out the gutters, people.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna do it for this time. So be kind, rewind.